I normally never drink coffee, but today was just one of those days, you know? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Veronica, and in case this is your first time seeing my face on YouTube, please make sure to go down there and hit the subscribe button. My channel is growing so much. I just can't wait to see where this YouTube channel goes, and I'm so glad that you've come along on the journey with me. Anyways, today I'm going to be going over some advice that I have to any high school seniors out there, or just people who are interested in the 12th grade and senior year and just what comes along with that. So I just graduated high school and I'm going to be a college freshman at Marquette University this fall, which I'm super excited about. But of course, with the back to school season coming, I thought it would be a really good idea to do an advice video for any incoming high school seniors, especially since senior year can be super stressful if you don't step back and take a breather. So without further ado, let's just get on with the video. So first of all, congrats. As a 12th grader and a senior in high school, you are now the ruler of the school, the top of the pack, but that also means that now you have to set an example for all of the underclassmen at your school, and you need to make sure that you are representing yourself and your grade with respect. So something that happens when you are a senior in high school is that college applications become a thing. When it comes to finding colleges to apply to, you need to make sure that you make a list of some safety, match, and then reach schools. Safety schools are schools that are just a little bit below your GPA and test scores. They're schools that you're pretty confident you'll be able to get into, and make sure that you pick good safety schools that you'd be happy to fall back on in case your match and reach schools didn't work out. Match schools are usually schools where there's a 50-50 chance they'll accept you or they will deny or waitlist you. They're just about your range when it comes to GPA and test scores. When it comes to match schools, there's a bunch of really good generators and search engines online that help you find good schools that are a good fit for your test scores and such. And then there are reach schools. Reach schools are usually schools that fall in the Ivy League category. They may be a little bit above your GPA or test score, but they may be schools that you had your eye on for a long time, or your parents have had an eye on for a long time. So a lot of people do apply to reach schools. However, when it comes to making these lists of schools, you need to stay realistic and keep in mind that you will not always get into the reach school or your dream school. So just stay realistic throughout the whole college application process. Something else you need to make sure you do when it comes to college and applying to colleges and schools that you pick out is that you need to make sure you are on the same page as your parents. Cannot stress this enough. Sometimes students and parents really just have different ideas when it comes to schools that the high school senior will be applying to. Your parents do play a part in applying and choosing schools, especially if they are paying for your education for the next 4 years. You especially need to make sure you're on the same page when it comes to cost and distance. My next tip is to start the Common App ASAP. As soon as the Common App releases their essays and things like that, you need to go on the website, check it out, and start brainstorming things you may want to write about in your college essays, because the Common App essay is probably the most important essay over all of your college applications. You also need to remember to reach out to teachers you trust and ask for letters of recommendation. If you're asking a teacher to write you a rec letter for any of your college applications, you need to ask them at least 1 month in advance, because your lack of planning is not someone else's emergency. If you ask them 2 days before your application is due because you forgot you needed a third teacher recommendation, that is not their fault, and if they have things going on in their schedule and they can't help you, then so be it. Something else I wanted to go over is not to let anyone tell you how many schools you can and can't apply to. If you want to apply to 15 schools, be my guest, go for it, reach for the stars. But you do have to remember that college applications are not free. You have to pay for every single one, and if you apply to 10 schools and each application costs $50 or $60, that's $500 down the drain, since you're only going to be picking one school in the end. If you want to apply to more schools, that's perfectly fine, but I personally highly recommend staying under 10 applications and narrowing down what schools you want to apply to, because I think I applied to 9, 10, possibly even 11 schools, and that was way too much for me. You also want to figure out whether or not you want to apply to colleges early action, early decision, or regular decision. Remember that early decision is binding. You can only apply to one school early decision, and if they accept you, you have to go to that school. And then early action is a good idea if you are thinking about getting into honors programs at certain colleges, because a lot of colleges have deadlines. If you want to be in certain programs at their schools, they pretty much force you to apply early action. However, if you still want a school to consider your first semester senior year grades in part of the application process, make sure you apply regular decision, because that way, if you have a little bit of an iffy GPA, you can still work on it and make it better for semester senior year before you apply to certain schools. And last but not least, do not procrastinate. And I mean it when I say this. Check every single school's website that you are applying to. Make a list of requirements when it comes to how many teacher recommendations they need, how many essays that you need to write, when test scores are due, and things like that, because like I mentioned earlier, your lack of planning is not someone else's emergency. I know that the ACT website gets really swamped on the day of a due date when it comes to sending ACT scores, so do not be that person who is trying to like hit the send button at 11:59 p.m. the day that something is due. Make sure you plan ahead and set early deadlines for yourself. Other than all the college stuff that will be going on first semester, senior year is also really fun, I swear. I think that senior year was my favorite year of all of high school. Remember that this is kind of your last chance to try something new. If you want to join a new club, go for it. If you want to take on a leadership position in an activity you've been involved for the past 4 years, take a leap of faith and just apply and see what happens. I was in orchestra for the longest time, and sophomore year I actually thought about quitting. I was this close to quitting orchestra, but I stayed put, I stayed in the program, and lo and behold, senior year I ended up being orchestra president, and it was probably my favorite memory out of all of high school. I'm so glad that I did it, so reach out, step out of your comfort zone. Not only does it make you feel good on the inside, but it also looks amazing on college applications when they're seeing that you're getting more involved. And although grades and test scores and college applications and just school in general comes first, make sure you let loose and have fun, and especially make sure to hang out with your friends as much as possible. As an incoming college freshman, I'm literally in a scramble right now, scheduling to meet up with all of my friends before I don't see them again for months. So make sure that you set aside some time to hang out with your girls, get lunch with people, go out on the weekends, because that time gets torn away from you faster than you think. If you have never been to a school dance, senior year is also your last chance to get to do something like that. If you've never been to homecoming or the winter dance or to prom, go for it. Even if you don't think that you want to go to the school dance, get a group of friends together, buy a cheap dress at Forever 21, and go dance the night away with your friends. Act as though nobody else is watching, because you don't get school dances in college, and I didn't go to homecoming my senior year, and that is probably my biggest regret out of the last 8 months. And yeah, I just did a lot of talking in a very short span of time, so I'm sorry if it felt as though I was yelling at you guys. I hope that this video was super helpful to any incoming high school seniors or any people who are currently in their senior year of high school. If you guys have any questions about high school or senior year, feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought of the video. Other than that, I guess I'll just see you guys next time. Bye!